Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I'm Wiso from FoodMexSource.com. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican soccer, Liga MX, and Europeos across the world. Actually, Europeos.
Well, maybe if they're playing in like Australia or something, we could start.
Right, Europeos across the world. You're right. All right, lots of action in Liga MX weekend. Paraguay versus Mexico and much more. Conca Champions, Libertadores, biting, Panenka. So much to talk about this week with all that happened in Week 12 and over the course of the week. But first, let's talk to all of our experts from all around the world too. Mexico and the U.S. Cesar, how are you doing, sir? Great weekend. Even better, Saturday, 7 games.
Yeah, Saturday was crazy. 7 games, 28 goals. It was kind of madness. It was weird just trying to follow, and especially since a lot of those games were running into each other, and like some I had to stream on my laptop, so it was just just this weird, ridiculous kind of Saturday that I was having. But it was a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited. We're going to be talking about it today.
Yes, definitely. It felt like I was just watching TV all weekend. So many games, especially Saturday, with everything that was happening. So good to see you. Good to hear from you. And let's go to Naive. Naive in Houston. What did you think of the weekend? What did you take out of it?
No, it was a great weekend. I mean, the Clásico Tapatio, I think, was a good example of Mexican football in general. Exciting, from start to finish, back and forth kind of game, and then the ending was just kind of like from a movie or something. And then, of course, this week, Piojo will take out that list, the Liga MX base list for the U.S. game. It's going to be about 22, 23 players. And it was a good weekend to kind of spot, if there's going to be some last-minute a standout that could make that list.
Yes, definitely. We'll be excited to see what Piojo and the surprises that he might give us this weekend with another game coming up. It feels like it was ages ago last week when Paraguay for so many different types of games, and then now next week already we're already looking to have another game. The exciting year for Mexico 2015. Let's go to Tom Marshall. Tom Marshall in Guadalajara. Tom, you were traveling. You were in LA. Then you went to Kansas City. Now you're home. You're ready to go. I know it was an exciting weekend for you also, especially there in Guadalajara. How are you?
Yeah, it's good, just catching up with the March Madness in April and, keeping it real.
Tom, Naive and I just had a discussion about March Madness, and to some of you guys that are watching us, thank you for tuning out if you are a big college fan, but here we are talking about Kentucky, Wisconsin, and Tom is just like, what the hell are you talking about? Actually, he said that too. So.
I thought I was on the wrong show. and the wrong month. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but if it's called March Madness, it's got to schedule it a bit better than April.
Tom, it was all through March. It ends today, man. Fun times here at the Mexican Soccer Show. Tom, sometimes we forget that he doesn't live in the U.S. and doesn't know that he's in Mexico, from England to Mexico. So, nice job, Tom. Well, great to see you. Lots to talk about today, guys. A lot to discuss. First, I want to thank all of you for watching the Mexican Soccer Show, especially last week. We had a record of viewership last week from our pregame from Paraguay, which is our postgame of Ecuador last week on Monday. I think over 1,000 views in 24 hours. So thank you so much for all of you guys that are watching. Also, we did have our pregame show for the Mexico-Paraguay game, which is about at 45 minutes, 30 minutes before the game. A lot of viewers there, and even a halftime show. So thank you so much to you guys. I know you definitely enjoy it. We see the comments. We hear we hear what you guys are saying. You want more of it, so here we are. We're trying to do this every Monday, and anytime Mexico has a game, we'll try to have it. Usually a pre or a halftime show. It gets a little challenging after the Mexico games because I know some of these guys have to get on there and write for their respective magazines / websites / newspapers, all the things, the blogs that they have to do, so it gets a little harder. But thank you. We do appreciate you guys, and definitely send us any messages on your recommendations on what you like about the show, what you don't like. Johnny's not here today, so it should be a good show. Just kidding. Johnny, I know I got
So does this mean that the shorter show we have, the more followers we'll get? So if maybe we have 10-minute shows, We just explode all the scores, and we'll just have a million views.
I know, right? We can try to cheat the system. But thank you to all of you that are on the chat already. 16 watching coming in. It's the same. Steve Graff, Joel, Panchovias Armies, Edwin, Alvaro, and others, much more from all parts of Mexico and the U.S. So thank you so much for watching. But let's get started, guys. Let's talk about what we're here for. Let's have a little recap. And as you see on our nice touchscreen monitor that we do have here, as you can see, you might be able to see my presentation. But let's talk about your overall. Even though it was only a week ago, it feels like it's been a while because of so many games. Get your mind out of Liga MX for a second. Get your mind out of the biting, out of the panencas, out of all that's going on. Let's talk about Mexico and Paraguay. A totally different lineup. Only one player, like we talked about, starting Diego Reyes, giving the captain's armband. But Tom, you were at the game. Obviously, some lot different than the LA game. Not only because of the viewership, because there's more than 95,000 people. What did you think overall? Kansas City's, give us the inside scoop of you being there. What did you think overall?
I thought it was played very well. I thought it was a team that I didn't play together before, and I expected to be a lot more kind of mistakes and just like the team not gelling so well. But I thought they played exceptionally well, to be honest. And Paraguay were a really difficult opponent in terms of they might not have the quality, but I mean they played that game. They played hard, and the amount of fouls that were committed and stuff. I thought it was good preparation for the Copa America. I think my main takes were Jonathan Dos Santos. I thought was unbelievable. I mean, it shouldn't really surprise us because he's playing for a top 6 team in Spain and he's starting from. But he really was just for me, he was a step above any other player on the pitch against Paraguay. And then I thought Raúl Jiménez, despite the lack of minutes at Atletico Madrid, I thought he did well, and I thought he looked like he really wanted to be there, and he was just delighted to get some playing time. And don't know, he's obviously not ideal in situation with Atletico Madrid, but I don't know. I think we've got to be patient with Raúl because I think he will come good.
Share those feelings. Good. Yeah, about Raúl. One thing that you mentioned, it was a good game against Paraguay. A lot of people are saying how there was, bad opponents, bad quality opponents, but I thought it was one of the best games that FMF could have scheduled, with having a team like Central American, like hacking and going at it. So many red cards the first 20 minutes, and being South American. I thought that it was a perfect test for what's going to happen in the Copa America and the Copa Oro. So your thoughts, Cesar, about the game? I know that you were tweeting a while at the game. Yeah. We were all very surprised in the second minute, of the game, and already we get a goal.
Yeah, that first half was awesome, and it was especially considering I was a little let down from the first of 2 friendlies. So kind of what immediately came to mind without like really analyzing any situation is I thought that, if we played kind of like underwhelming soccer in the first game, what is this B team or subs going to do in this match? And that made me worry a little bit, especially since the atmosphere was going to be entirely different too. It wasn't going to be in front of, the near 90,000 fans in Los Angeles. It was going to be somewhere around 30 to 40,000 in Kansas City. And I was a little worried, but that first half was awesome. It was fantastic. It looked like half those players have been playing together for months. And I think one thing to bring up too is that our fullbacks in the first game, Aguilar and Layun, they weren't at their best. And I think honestly, I don't really like Torres Nilo that much, but he did do much better than Layun in the left wing back position. And Dueñas did an excellent job at right wing back. So it kind of made me alleviate any kind of worries that I had about our depth on the squad. And it was nice to see players like Dueñas, Layun, a few defensive options, and Lalo Herrera on his first touch ever for the national team. He scored. So it was good to see that.
Yeah, in general, I also think Reyes, comparing his first game to the second game, I think it was a great improvement, and also considering that he was a captain. There was a lot of good tackles. He was precise with every move he did on the center back position. There was more confidence in him, I think, than the first game. And then maybe also it does affect, I think Paraguay was less of an attacking menace as it was the case with Ecuador. I think Ecuador was more compact in the attack. I was also impressed with Dueñas, his movements, from moving from the right wing back to the midfield. I think that's really important in the national team. And in general, I was really impressed with Negrito Medina, coming back again to the national team being an important factor, that leadership in that midfield. Guardado and Negrito Medina have a kind of a similar deal with the national team because they were both born and grew up in Atlas, and now they kind of have a second chance to be these kind of important players in El Tri. And you can tell right away that Negrito with the assist and the Eduardo Herrera goal and all that leadership that came and provided, gave a lot of liberty to Güemes and Jonathan to have the games that they had.
No, definitely. Looking at the game going back, I think, Cesar, you mentioned it felt like these guys have been playing for a while. And we see that was one thing that I know I was scared of that we were talking about before in the game was these guys have not played with each other. Paraguay at least had one game against Costa Rica that they tied. So it was important for them to play together. And just like Tom mentioned, Jonathan Dos Santos, you can see the level that he is at, the level that he's playing with. And there was 2 or 3 times where it was just above everybody else. Great to see that Jonathan.
You watched him on the field. And he was just seriously a step above everyone else. He was in a level above everyone else. It was genuinely enjoyable to watch, to the point where I'm literally cheering him, yelling out loud with some of those dribbles that he had. It was a lot of fun to watch him.
Dude, how about Meliton?
I think I'm not convinced at all about Meliton, but I'm Jonathan Dos Santos, and I said obviously. Against Paraguay, you played with a bit more kind of license to go forward from central midfield. First on the left, I think he started, and then on the right, but also he's played at right back for Barcelona. So it's how did you feel playing that more advanced role? And you said I really liked it, and I was where else do you feel you could fit in? And obviously he gave the cliched wherever the coach puts me, and I was well, I'm not quick enough. My position's holding midfield. So it's just interesting though that he actually said when I chatted to him that holding role is the one he'd prefer. You know what I mean? And I think it raises questions. Gallito Vasquez didn't play the best against Ecuador in Los Angeles, and it raises the question of can Mexico really, if you are sending an A team to the Gold Cup, why is Jonathan Dos Santos not in that? You know what I mean? How is he not in that?
It's hard. He's such a good player. You feel like they have to make room for him somewhere, but the midfield is so stacked. And I wish he would play at a right wing back spot because I think he would do pretty well there. But I think you cut out a little bit. But you did say that he didn't feel comfortable. That he told you he didn't feel comfortable playing as a right wing back.
He said he's not quick enough to play it.
I feel like we all just want Jonathan and Gio to go to Copa America because it's the best competition, and we have that. But we have to remember we need to have the best at Copa Oro. And yes, right now I love that. That's what he played in Barcelona, just like you said. So it'd be interesting to see what Pio has to do. Just like Pio said in one of the press conferences, he's got a lot of things to do, a lot of thinking to do about who he's got to bring up, especially with the 2 tournaments.
It does raise the question, though. It does raise the question about does Gallito have that assured starting role? I mean, I think what Jonathan did.
Do you think one game is enough for him not to have that for what he did in the World Cup?
Jonathan, the impeccable season he's had in Europe, I think is really close to the Herreras, is really close to the Carlos Velas, because Villarreal is a really competitive team. I mean, this past weekend they played against Valencia and they tied 0-0. And usually in Valencia and Mestalla, the coach from Valencia, Nuno, didn't water the pitch because he was really scared that Villarreal, with its quick football and its touch, that it would be really in trouble. Valencia would be really in trouble. So the pitch was dry, and still Jonathan was able to play a great game. He's playing against some of the best midfielders in Spain. I think, I know Gallito is good, and I said it. But the level that Jonathan has shown in Spain is just
it's just hard though, because I want Jonathan to start there too, but Gallito has worked so well with Guardado and Herrera in the middle, and we could see that in the last World Cup too. He was just he stepped up and he had excellent performances, and it's just hard because I do want to give Jonathan a chance right there, but it's just I wouldn't take out Gallito from that starting role after having just one bad game, because that's all. It was just one bad game that he had.
Exactly, and that's something that's important that you just said, because Jonathan, we haven't seen him, play with Herrera and with Guardado in that sense, and who knows if something that already works. I think it's very, very important on what's going to happen, but we don't have any more games. guys, we don't have any more FIFA to see them all. So I think it's all going to be in practice. Who's working well, and I think that's where Piojo's going to make a decision. I still think Vasquez is the safe choice. He did have one bad game, but it wasn't like the midfield was that great during that game, except for Guardado, because Herrera was also there, wasn't 100%.
Well, I don't know. I've just been disappointed with Gallito in terms of his. I don't think he's quite on the level he was, but obviously he's not playing badly. But it's just, I mean, it's frustrating that he's achieved so much in Mexico with León. He won the bicampeonato, and it just frustrates me that he hasn't gone to Europe. He's in the prime of his career, and I think he's like the biggest example I can think of a player who should have gone to Europe. And I think the fact he's not in Europe, to be quite honest, does open the door to.
Ask Guardado why not.
Ask
Guardado why he's not in Europe. There.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you know, we can talk about this, but it was a good game overall. Great for Mexico to get that win. A goal in the second minute. It's a friendly. Do people calm down a little bit? When Chicharito and Gio came out, it looked like that it wasn't everyone giving 100%, but overall very entertaining. Good to see that, and Paraguay, I think, also came in with a lot of trying to do something on the physical level, but good test for Mexico. I do have to say, lots of injuries that are happening in the Mexican national team for this international break. Raúl coming back knocked down a little bit. Tecatito, we saw that. Jürgen Damm.
Nothing serious though. It's all
nothing serious. I mean, good to see that. Just kind of seeing what we're just surprising. But all right, let's go ahead and just talk quickly. Kind of change it around to the Europeos just a little bit before we get into the Liga MX. Important of what's happening this week for our Europeos. That we're seeing that. So how are you seeing it, Tom? I know you tweeted out how many Europeos actually played this week in one of their. I mean, it wasn't a big week for the Europeos except for I could say Layun on Friday. That actually played Guardado, that played.
Herrera played today.
Moreno.
So pretty much Moreno being the only one that's playing 90.
Jonathan played around 60 minutes or so, and he left with a knock that game. But I think it was just a tiredness of all the.
Yeah, and it looked like he wasn't playing that well. I don't know. Didn't see him as his usual Jonathan self. I mean, and that's what happens when you're training.
Chicharito played for 29 minutes. That's right.
Yes.
All Texas Real Madrid just for 6 goals, and then they give him 29 minutes.
I woke up, and it was like 7:30 in the morning here, and I woke up, I saw 9-1, and I'm like, yes, and I'm looking to see who scored, because I know Chicharito was
just imagining like Chicharito with like 9 goals.
No.
Yeah, this is his time.
And I go, there's no way he did not score up there. And I'm looking, Cristiano, and then I'm just like, are you serious? How do you not score in the 9 game when you're a forward? And I know that Cristiano is the best player in the world out there, or one of. But at the same time, I don't know. Do you have to keep Cristiano in there when you're 6'1"? Like at halftime? Like, I don't know. But that's just me being Mexico.
What's great? It was a little sad. It's like I looked because the game was at 3 in the morning. I love soccer, but I don't know.
if it isn't Korea 2002, I don't think I'm waking up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
actually, I was up at the Sudamericano when Pachuca was there early in the morning. But go ahead, Cesar.
Okay, but I looked online and it shows like goal, and then they sub in Chicharito and a few other people, and then it just dies. There's just nothing. There's like no goals for at least 20 minutes.
Oh man. But good to see. Interesting about an interview that Guardado made. Kind of that's going out there. Kind of saying things about why, and we mentioned this with Vasquez, Tom. Why that players aren't going to Europe because the directivos, as he said, don't let them in. Tom, did you see that? Do you see so many players in that? And you're in Mexico. When you talk to players, when you see that, do you see that around Mexico? The players want to leave. And then another question would be: I sometimes feel like these young guys it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because I feel like these young guys also get this notion that we should all go, and they go places they don't even play.
Yeah, I mean. No, I think the Mexican players are overpriced in the world market, but that's because of the Pacto de Caballeros and the fact that they can move between Mexican clubs for a lot of money, and they get paid a lot because obviously there's no kind of free. Your transfer runs out and you're still linked to a club. You're not free to leave, so therefore that naturally kind of puts the prices up. because the player can't run down his contract, and then the price cuts in half, and then they can move to Europe. That's just the situation how it is. I mean, on the positive side, the players, when they are established, get paid a lot of money in Mexico, and we've seen the influx of some really top quality South American players, especially over the last transfer window. But yeah, I mean, he's right. You speak to players, and they're all like, yeah, Europe, and I think especially this latest generation since the 2011 under-17s World Cup, they're desperate to go over there and try themselves out at the very top. And yeah, it's a difficult one. It really is a difficult one because I honestly believe that with more players over there in Europe, and obviously the key thing is getting playing time. But I mean, it's like Brazilian players have this image of doing really well in Europe, and that's true to a degree. But there's so many that go there, and a lot of them fall by the wayside. Like there's so few Mexicans that naturally not all of them are going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they get a bad reputation for that, and I think that's where we're at now. I think the European clubs aren't willing to pay that little bit extra that the Mexican clubs want, and you can't blame them either because you look at Pablo Barrera, Efrain Juarez, and it's like, I mean, they really failed, didn't they? I mean, let's not make any bones about it. Look at Tecatito, got criticised for being overweight in the preseason. I mean, he's, to his credit, he's come back unbelievably well from there. But there's so many examples of it not really working out that European clubs aren't at the minute gonna pay that extra money.
Yeah, unless they're already built as well said, Tom. And speaking of Guardado, very, very, what we were talking about a year ago, was he even going to make it to the World Cup? So look at where he's at, having the best time in Europe, and in that interview, it was very, very important for him to say that he's having a lot of fun there, and he likes where he's at, and to see that. But
yeah. I love Guardado. I think that when he comes out with these comments and stuff, he's saying the things that I want Rafa Marquez to come out and say, and Cuauhtémoc Blanco, and like
Rafa Marquez wants to
come out and like makes
a directivo one day, so we can't say that.
Yeah, but I mean, and Guardado said it's the players' fault. He says this situation is the players' fault. We're the main culprits because we accept these conditions. And he says, it's difficult to change the status quo in Mexico, but nobody's trying to do it. I think it's great is the captain, to be honest, because I want to hear what he says and he's not afraid of coming out, and I think that needs to be applauded because what it does, and it's something rare in Mexico, not just in soccer, but in politics, it opens up a proper debate about things, and I think that that's how you arrive at kind of making things better. And you look at the Liga and stuff. Mexico needs that debate in its football industry about how it's going to move forward, about these issues. You look at the Santos Laguna president Iraragorri, which I'm sure Naib can tell us. You can have a conversation with him. He likes the Pacto de Caballeros. He likes the fact that the players can't run down the contracts because he says it keeps the players within the Mexican game and the quality goes up, and that the players get a very fair deal because they're getting so much money.
Yeah.
But what I like about him is you can disagree with him and you can talk to him and have a little debate. There's some people who just shut you down, and I think that's and there's, I don't know, it's just the way it's run.
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up a little bit, I mean, Santos, I think Caixinha described it like an oasis in the world of football. And, it's interesting that there's certain things in Mexican football that still have to get fixed about the draft, the players, that are basically technically owned by a promoter, and the promoter moves them from one club to the other and decides their fortune, basically. But Santos tries to do different things. I mean, the stuff that they're doing now with Caixinha and this process, long-term project, about try to build a team young, including players from the youth system, and also bringing in young players from the Mexican league. It's actually a good idea. I mean, they're kind of saving money, and then they buy good players like Agustín Marchesín and Pulpo González. I mean, it's not just about buying this random Ecuadorian player that is cheap and could turn into Ener Valencia. It's actually about following really closely what type of player that person can be, and certainly Pulpo and Marchesín have been really key to Santos, and it's just a process. I mean, maybe they'll make the Liga. Well, you never know, but it's a process that could leave good ramifications for the club and also for the league, and follow it as an example.
Let's all just be Alan Pulidos and say, you know what, screw my contract. I'm just going to get out.
Yeah, that wasn't complicated at all whatsoever, was it?
Which he got another win. Great job for Alan Pulido, and his team gets another win by not even playing. Gets a 3-0 register for his team.
Actually, I didn't. I tried looking. I tried looking. Yeah, I was looking into that because I saw the game was canceled. I was like, "Nah, is there another team that dropped?" It was a little confusing. I didn't look into it, but I assume there must have been another. The terrible situations happening in Greece and like.
I don't think they lost. I don't think he's lost a game since he's been there. Our producers are telling us to keep going with Fútbol Mexicano. What'd you say, Tom?
Has anyone checked out Pulido's Instagram recently?
No.
He doesn't update anymore. He's got a team now. He doesn't need a team anymore. That was his recruiting video right there. He probably just told like the team's like, oh, dude, check out my stuff on Instagram.
Check out my stuff.
I'll show you some sweet.
He was like posing with cars that weren't his just to get them. Producers tell us to move on with as you can see in the screen. But one more question to you guys, really quick, before we move on to Fútbol Mexicano. What's going on with Layún? Seeing that he played on Friday, but today, Naib, one of the most important games for them for the championship, doesn't get subbed until the 90th minute. Lalo red, like you said, and then 4 minutes gets a yellow card. I was speaking to some fans, kind of tweeting out what's going on with him, and it looks like he's getting played in the midfield. Not his natural position that we can see from obviously his America days and before, but not the greatest situation that he's in right now, especially if it's the most important game that they needed in order for him to get up to the in England and not play in the championship. What do you think? What's going on? Should we be alarmed? And is this something to worry about for Layún?
Yeah, I think there's the squad itself. Watford is really stacked. I think in general it has at least 2 players in each position to cover a specific for a specific game. And I think Layún lately, I mean, we saw him. He hasn't been his finest. I mean, there's a lot of energy, a lot of hard work, in Layún, but it's not like he's sending in assists or even let alone score a goal. I think it's one of the things that that in the championship that is really important is scoring goals, and whoever is playing in that role that Layún had in the beginning when he arrived is doing a good job. I don't know the name exactly who's covering his spot, but I think we're gonna be seeing more of Layún on the bench actually. I don't because it's been a tendency by the looks of it.
Yeah, I wrote down his minutes from his last few games because what happened was when he first arrived to the team, he was getting 90 minutes. And
he was playing that left back position when he arrived.
Yeah, and then
he was getting the 90 minutes.
But then they did eventually move him into a more midfield role pretty quickly. But within the last few games, you see that there is a really significant drop of minutes. Then around mid-February, it was 69 minutes, then 68, then 53, then 32, then 32, 78, 63, and then just a couple minutes. So you can see he doesn't play the full 90 anymore. Now he's becoming an option off the bench.
Super sub.
Yeah, super sub. And it's just, and for me, like,
this is championship. It's not even a first, division. This is what I was so upset about that he was leaving.
Oh, it's an excellent league. It's a competitive league, but it's just it's hard to see him doing that in like what is it is still a second division, especially since he didn't really impress me in that friendly, the friendly that we had recently. So it was a little worried to be seeing that from Layún. Yeah.
No, I've been following and I follow a lot of Watford fans and the official Watford and just kind of ask him. They're like, yeah, he's there, great to have him, great with his feet. But guys, I ask you, Tom, Cesar, Naive, I ask you guys, what's the best thing that Layún has with the national team with America? What can you say is something that he owns and he does very well?
I think the thing for the national team with Layún is that playing the left wing back spot, he understands perfectly
his runs.
Galore wants.
His runs towards forward. I mean, his centros. He scored how many goals for America last season? That's what he's really good at. And then they have him playing in the midfield. I don't know, but I mean, I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah, but I agree with what you're saying about second division. And it really doesn't look good. I mean, I understood the point of going to Watford, and they've done really well, so it looks like they're going to be in the Premier League next season. But I mean, if you go to a second division club, it's to play and to start regularly and become a big player for the club.
I don't think he was
But-
anticipating going to Watford and thinking like, oh yeah, maybe I'll be an option off the bench. We'll see. Like
Yeah.
that's not the point of going to Watford. Yeah.
And it wasn't like people say, oh, he went in, and then after that they sent him, the owners or whatever. I mean, it had to have been sent, that it was happening. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's move on. It's kind of interesting what Layun will be doing, and hopefully, Piojo said it. Everybody, he said him going over there is going to be a mistake. So we'll see what happens with how Piojo is. But a good thing he's still getting minutes. Will be interesting to see. We haven't heard anything and back to the national team really quick. We haven't heard anything about Ochoa or Reyes getting some minutes, hopefully getting some calling up for next week's game. So it'll be interesting to see if that's possible. Miguel Herrera did say that it would be a little bit hard to try to get Ochoa with Kameni being there and being a backup, and because it's not a FIFA date. So hopefully we're there. But list should be coming out soon. Yeah. All right, let's see what's going on. Obviously with the chat, lots of people chatting away, talking about all things from Paco de Caballeros to Cesar's cat to.
Someone mentioned my cat. Yeah, her whiskers showed up for a bit. I had to spray her. I had the spray ball.
DJ Cuddles. Do not use that. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're here. Let's talk about the probably the most intense game. Looking at it, just an overall great game, a great ending, great dramatic Liga MX. Let's talk about Atlas versus Chivas de Guadalajara. Ponchito. Looking at that, your reactions of the game, and what did you think it was going to be this good? I thought it was just a great game going overall, and obviously a great ending. Cesar, you're a Chivas fan. How did you feel as a fan? And obviously looking at it subjectively.
Somehow that felt like a win. It was just because obviously the last minute situation there. But man, Atlas really, they were pushing at the very end. They were really pushing. I think Chivas got a little lucky. And actually, when I was I had to watch a stream of the game because I didn't have it. I didn't have it in my. For some reason, I wasn't able to watch it on TV. And literally, right when Ponchito tapped in the shot, my stream froze for a second. So all I saw was Michel dive to the left.
I really think it was you as a fan, because I think all fans did that. All fans saw that Panenka in slow motion.
Yeah,
it wasn't your stream, bro.
It froze, so I freaked out, but then immediately cut back. To everybody celebrating from Chivas, and I had to watch the replay online, but I freaked out for a little bit there. But,
Let's see it. We do have it here in our little video that we do have for the. Let's go ahead and see if I can share that with you guys. All right. For those of you guys that are watching, definitely take a look at.
Oh, I can actually see it now. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of people are questioning if it was a penalty or was it. To you guys, was it a penalty? I mean,
it was soft, but it was a penalty. It was soft.
Yeah.
Penalty.
Yeah. No, it was definitely there. And looking at it, the 90th minute. Tom, let's talk about the decision of getting that. The Panenka that's there. I mean, ever since I've played or I've seen it, it's more of a F you. I'm gonna do this to you because to the team. Of him taking that way. His decision, what do you think about his decision? Not necessarily execution, but his decision of Panenka in that state of the game, in a Clásico Tapatío, to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, with hindsight, it wasn't good, was it?
And there's lots of debate. I mean, if he would have made it, he would have been a hero. Oh, look at the gut. Look at what he had. I think Chicharito did a Panenka a little while ago, but I mean, if you look at the history of Panenkas, that come out, you don't see that many epic fails on it at a stage like that.
I mean, I thought he took it well. I thought it was a great save by Michel because most goalkeepers wouldn't have even bothered trying to get back. I think that it showed a lot of balls for him to try it. I thought it's good to see a 20-year-old Mexican player in front of 51,000 and try something as just bold as that. And he played okay as well. And he is a big talent. He's got a big future with the national team. So, I don't necessarily slam for it. I mean, he got up and took the penalty. And at the end of the day, it's Tubo Gomez, the old Chivas goalkeeper, who's an absolute legend with the club. Once upon a time, they played Atlas and they were winning 4-0. And, I mean, this is a story going back into the 50s. But it's famous around Guadalajara. And he got a pamphlet somebody in the crowd passed him a pamphlet, like a newspaper cutting or something, and he sat down by the post as the game was going on and just started reading it. And there's a photo of it, and I mean, so much of the Clásico Tapatio is those kinds of stories that are kind of, because both fans do rub it into the other. And I mean, if Panchito Gonzalez would have scored that, it would have been another episode that Atlas fans would have talked about for absolutely generations. The day that Panchito Gonzalez, the 20-year-old from the youth system, tried the panenka on Luis Michel to win the game. I mean, so I don't know.
As a coach, come on, Tom. As a coach, not as a fan, not whatever, but as a coach, do you really think, looking at that's the decision you make, and you got to come back with saying, you know what, you took that decision and you gambled on it, and here's the repercussions from it, because you could have won the game if you would have done it,
Well, yeah, but I mean, like I said, I thought he was, he wasn't. I thought he took it all right.
I thought it was a little too slow. I think, because
seeing like Vaneka's like a hard shot either. Like,
yeah,
it's gonna be slow.
No, but at the same time, but I mean, he was going to left, and Luis Michel, and he had time, to kind of to get it. I thought it was bad executed on the panenka. I think if he would have done it, usually a little bit higher. I think it was a little too low and too slow, but
I don't blame him for it. I mean, I quite liked it. I like that little bit of flair, and I think a lot of the time, in the modern game, it's like kind of missing. I think try and produce players that are really like plastic and kind of doing things in lines, and I think that he's going to suffer. He'll have suffered when he went home. He'll continue to suffer for a long time. I think the only thing he said to the press was
shit decision.
Me la cagué.
I think also, like, I mean, if just seeing the picture, I mean, if there was a type of miss that you wanted to have in that type of game, because it was a spectacular match, I think that would be the right type of miss, instead of like hitting the post or because he was trying to do something spectacular.
You guys are too soft.
No.
You did not win the game because he tried to do something out of the ordinary.
There's these stories that he practices those a lot with Villar in the training grounds with Atlas, and it always comes out right.
I think today he practiced it. There were reports today that he practiced it and he missed it again. And I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. It was on ESPN. Tony Kerke was listening to it, and he did say that today they were playing, and in the very first panenka they did, Villar stopped it, and he stopped doing it. I mean, I don't know.
I'm glad they're covering important things like that.
That was a big story on a lot of the websites.
Add a little bit more about the game. I think Michel and Salcedo did a great game. Defense for Salcedo. And I think, we'll talk about it later, but if there's a defender that I want to see in El Tri, it's Salcedo. I don't care if he has to be with the U23 or whatever. This guy came when there was fire in Chivas, and he's making it look so easy. And I think, top prospect for Mexico.
It's almost as if no one told him that there was like any problems with Chivas. Like when he arrived, he just went into the system perfectly. There's like, I don't know, it seems like he's been playing. It looks like he's been playing with them for a while, but like you would never guess that like he just arrived to the team recently. He's been excelling like really, really well on the back line.
Yeah, and his dad's actually a former player. I think his uncle is as well, and I think his dad's like kind of aged now. He's got a few. So he works in the game. But I think that comes out because he's so well prepared. I think he knows what it's all about to be a footballer. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, but I thought the other thing that I wanted to point out quickly about the game was, we talk about a lot about Chivas on the podcast, but I thought that Tomas Boy, he gets a lot of stick from the Atlas fans here in Guadalajara. I don't think they're never very happy with him. They're hardly ever happy. But I thought it was absolutely brilliant the way he put his team out to go after a Chivas team that hasn't that has been playing well recently. Go at him, and I thought that his decision to actually go for the game and leave so many spaces in front of the defense. But I thought that made the game, because then to be fair to Chepo, I mean he took off Israel Castro, didn't he? And that's rare for him to ever do that. So I think Chepo kind of followed, and I thought but it was that initial intent from Tomas Boy to actually go, right, you know what, we can really do Chivas damage here. And I've said it before on the show, but I think Atlas are only a couple of players away from being a really, really good team. And when I say a good team, I'm talking like top 3-4 teams in the league. I mean, some of the football they played on Saturday under that pressure, I thought was unbelievable. I mean, in terms of like the passing and and creating. I just think they need that killer instinct. I mean, I think Tomas Boy, after he actually said, all right, Ponchito Gonzalez messed up, but how many others did we miss? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And as I mentioned too, I think Atlas definitely was the better team overall. It kind of the penalty kick at the very end kind of makes it feel like a win for Chivas, but I think overall it was Atlas who had more pressure. I think it was Atlas who had the better game, like overall.
I'm sorry, but I just go back to the national team. If that ever happened, and we're about to get to the quinto partido, and someone decides to do a panenka and doesn't
who would do that? Would it be? Let's see. Maybe it'd be like Fabian who would do something like that.
No, it'd probably be Chicharito, dude. It'd probably be Chicharito who does it. All right. Lots to say about Chivas. Bravo. About just the team playing so well. Looking at what they have, just on what's going on, totally different. And we've said it before. Applaud Chepo and what he's doing. Nobody missed Cubo Torres. Nobody, wasn't like Cubo should be there. He should have started. With Bravo scoring and everything and what's going on. Fierro doing an amazing job. In the game, it looks like watch out. I'm excited when it comes to Liguilla. Because we have good teams that can make it, and like anybody could win the game. So interesting stuff.
Almost there. They're just 2 points behind first place. So right there.
There you go. And interesting on Liga MX is that the two first teams didn't win, right?
Yeah.
So
the top team that won was America, and they're in fourth.
Yeah, definitely. Closing remarks on Clásico Tapatío.
Yeah, good stuff. It was like a throw. For me, I think I wrote it was like a throwback game. It was like an old school kind of, the kind of like more modern like tactical concepts, like managing transitions of plays and ultra organized defensive units and stuff like this. You're like, nah, screw that. We're just gonna go.
Yeah, it definitely did. It felt like if they fought at the end of the game, it would be in those hazaña, great, Clásico Tapatío 2015, where they missed a penalty kick for Panenka and then they fought.
Looks like Chepo almost fought at the end there.
Oh my goodness! Oh, you know what? I should have gotten that video. Maybe I can get it by the end. I have not. See, I look like Chepo just going in with his little kids, like when you're doing something wrong and your mom comes by and just get out of there.
Well, it wasn't even like the kids. It was like Salcido and Bravo they pulled away too. It wasn't like the young guys.
I'll tell you what. I wouldn't mess with Salcido. Don't mess with Salcido, me.
Apparently, Chepo, he doesn't care. So many jokes we could have gotten in there, but this is a clean show. All right, let's go and talk. It's kind of like the Liga MX overall. Some scores quickly. The other many clásicos, the Clásico Joven. There was the Clásico Universitario. And so many clásicos that we have.
The Clásico León Querétaro.
Yeah, the Clásico León Querétaro, the Corregidora. There's so
many clásicos, man. I don't know. They really pushed the boundaries what a clásico is.
Right, I was starting to make like more clásicos for León because they don't have one. I know there's a Clásico del Bajío, but I was like, León and Leones Negros would be like the Clásico del Rey de la Selva, León and Pumas, Clásico, the Cat Clásico.
Classical too, obviously.
The funniest, yeah. What's that? Like the what's it? The Morelia and who is it? Morelia America or something?
Morelia America, yeah. Televisa.
The Clásico del Periférico.
Yeah.
Querétaro. Yeah. The Clásico America Querétaro. I think it's Clásico Periférico. I don't know, something like that. But
how can that be a Clásico, really? Come on.
Do we have two like fish, like the ocean Clásico between tiburones and no?
Once Dorados, you just started a little bit better than
the Pep Guardiola. I played Clásico. Interesting stuff. Obviously, what's going on? Santos, on a Friday, Santos finally getting a win. I think, the Cantina coming.
It
was a
1-0 win over Morelia, so
it was Morelia.
It's not the right direction, but not a big step forward.
You know who couldn't beat Morelia? It was America. So it's let's be honest. That was okay. So that goes for all the Americanistas. But looking at the league, let's talk just a little bit about the Clásico Joven, Peralta. A lot of people are saying, but it feels like Peralta. We always have that discussion. Oh, he's off. He hasn't scored for 285 minutes. He scored one time. Oh, Peralta's back. Just an amazing header. The way he's playing, he's back, and he was coming in. how do you feel about that? And is Peralta kind of does that a lot. It looks like he disappears for a while and then has very important goals, amazing goals, right? Naeem?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
or Tom?
I think a lot of strikers are like that, but I think I was looking the other week at like Peralta's record over the last like 4 or 5 years, and it's just unbelievably consistent. I think it's close to kind of a goal every 2 games, and that's what America paid for. And I think he'll have his ups, he'll have his downs, but I think he's a very good player, especially at Liga MX level. I think he's going to score plenty of goals when this America team eventually gets going under Matosas.
Yeah, and I think. Go Cesar, and I'll go after you.
I was just gonna say really quick, America definitely needs goals right now because I saw that they've only scored twice in like the last 5 games, so they definitely need someone like Peralta to step up right now.
Yeah, and just to add, I mean, I think the leadership that Peralta offers, I think is going to be really crucial. He got a hit on the face, even got a concussion a while back, and since then it was kind of hard for him to get back to normalcy kind of a deal. The game against Herediano in the Conca Champions, I think that's going to be important. I mean, I think those are the games that, for the Americanista, it's kind of, if they get the win, it's going to be like all parade and stuff, all of the deal. And they even showed it today by welcoming Herediano with the crazy fans in the airport. So there's a little bit of this kind of a deal to get the win. But it's important for other players to actually start putting in goals. Darwin Quintero has to put in goals now. Benedetto. I mean, everything cannot rely on Oribe Peralta, but it's good that Peralta's scoring again.
Ruben Sambuesa, I thought did an amazing job, and he is a player that's needed there, and you can see it. Obviously, when he's on, the team wins. Just overall good for the Americanistas to get finally a win. For Matosas.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of comparison to the other Clásico, it was definitely a little bit of a boring game. I think Cruz Azul if we're talking about Cruz Azul, but I think they were awful. They were really, really bad. They had plenty of opportunities on net.
Paging Jason Markowitz.
Amazing, yeah. I'm sure Jason could talk for hours about this, but it's unfortunate that they've had to be utilizing Alamao, because I don't think going into the season they thought Alamao is going to be our starter every game. This is going to be the guy we're going to be relying on. So it's really, really tough for Cruz Azul to have to be utilizing him right now at the top.
Yeah, Returnos Roque Santa Cruz. So I didn't think it was wasn't a boring. I thought it was all right. It was a good game, especially with scoring. So around the league, just kind of looking at that, Club Tijuana, Monterrey, and you wrote about this successfully. Cesar, getting that win of obviously over Cholos, the team that couldn't win on the road won, and the team that hadn't lost at home lost in that game. But you predicted it, man. Good job.
Yeah, I felt weird predicting it, and I kept pushing for it. And I'm like, dude, this is gonna be awful because Tijuana's gonna win 8-0 over Monterrey, and everyone's gonna remember all the predictions I was making. But it isn't too surprising though, because when I mentioned an article before the season started, I really thought that Monterrey was gonna be one of the top teams in the league. I thought they're gonna finish second, maybe second or third with all the new Colombian talent that they have. So I think it was just a matter of time, before they started doing well. Right now it seems like Turco Mohamed, he's been the one who's been able to inspire the team. I think they've only lost twice since he's arrived. He's put a little bit more faith in Cardona, and Cardona has been fantastic. Edwin Cardona can make a goal out of nothing. So with a little bit of that more momentum, I think it's going to be interesting to see what Monterrey can do. I think they're going to definitely make it into the playoffs, and I think they're going to
watch out.
Yeah. So
watch out in the playoffs.
Yeah, they scored 9 goals in the last 2 games.
Watch out in the playoffs, and we're looking at that. Other things that happened around, obviously, León, 10 goals in the last 2 games. It's not been fun to watch. And they're scoring. That's the thing. It wasn't like they're getting blown out. They're scoring goals too. That 4-5, I'm looking at it, and the thing is that I was following it, and it's just all right, we're done. Okay, we're back. Okay, we're done. Okay, we're back. We're done. 90th minute, 3 goals.
Yeah.
Yarbrough not having the greatest of games after the national team call-up. Neither is Menicon, but just kind of point that out.
Yeah. But as soon as that was named, though, as soon as he's named in the U.S. team, he's played twice and he's conceded 10.
10 goals.
and I actually thought that on the watching Querétaro's goals that on a couple of them I thought his decision making wasn't the best.
Nope.
I mean, it's not like one of them where you're like, oh, that was a big mess up by the goalkeeper, but it's like, why is he in between the line and kind of the player in no man's land? Really, it's like, I don't know. So
Those
I
are
think
little decisions that he's made. As a Leon fan, I'm telling you, I wasn't 100% sure for his decision playing any national team. Interesting that the two teams that Leon got pretty much trashed, they're brand new coaches, and I tweeted that yesterday. With Turcos and Vucetic coming in, less preparation, not even here comes Pizzi having that much preparation, cannot do it and gets 5 goals. So it's something to see. I think his days are limited also there and seeing who they're going to look for. So any other news on Liga MX? Quickly, the bite. Well, it'd be interesting to see the suspension. Arango gets
2 games.
Yeah,
2 games. Yeah.
Is it 2 games?
Which is ridiculous for me.
Yeah, I think there should be much more than that. I was expecting much more than just 2 games.
Maybe because it's his first offense. I mean, Luis Suarez had like a record of biting.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like he got 4 months. But I mean, it shouldn't have been 4 months, but it should have been at least 5 games. You can't be going around biting people on the pitch. 2 games suspension. It's like it's almost worth it if you really don't like someone. You know what I mean?
How important, or not less important, I get. How is it going to affect his team? I mean, look at what he's done in the last game.
I mean, he's lethal on those free kicks, and then it's going to be.
How many free kicks is that? Like 6?
I think he scored. I think he scored like 55 goals off free kicks.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Give or take 54.
But I don't know. I don't think it might actually be good for him because he'll have a couple of weeks off now. He's 34. He's been so important, and Tijuana are basically in the Liga already. So, I think he'll have a couple of warm-up games for the Liga, and then he'll probably be absolutely primed for the playoff run.
Yeah, so I was thinking like maybe suspend him till the Liga starts, just to like not hurt Cholo's chances in the Liga.
But then you're assuming that they're going to be making the playoffs. So I mean,
they're already in the playoffs. I think even before the bite, they were already in the playoffs. In my opinion,
before the bite and after the bite.
And I think also the thing that Arango has done. I mean, it's pretty quiet, but the leadership. I mean, it's pretty funny that Farias brought him to Cholos, and he's actually exploded without Farias being in Cholos.
I hope that's a reference point from now on for the season. Just like, that was post bite, so things were a little bit rough for Tijuana, post bite. So
they did lose. Let's be honest, they did lose.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Tijuana's run here, and they're actually playing Leon, so probably they'll get that win they need to guarantee the playoff place.
The Clásico de Segunda winners. Clásico of Segunda winners.
That was aimed at you, Wiesel, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry, it's tough. But I was in relegation zone for 10 years. I can withstand anything.
Wait, Wiesel, I've got a question for you. Do you reckon that PC guy should stay or no?
No, he hasn't done anything. There's no, you can't see his team. Like it's not like, oh yeah, that's Pizzi's team. He did get a couple, comes back, but no, getting pretty much out-coached pretty much in the last 2 games by.
But they haven't had Boselli that much for the season though.
They also didn't have.
They lost Rafa Marquez.
But it's not like
Rafa Marquez out of Leon, and Leon's defense is like water. It's like
true, but that would be Matos's excuse. Oh, we don't have but not Pizzi's coming in. He didn't have Rafa Marquez before. It wasn't like he had these players before and they took him out. That was Matosa saying, they took away pretty much this. Now I have to work with somebody else. Pizzi's coming in there with a team that he had to work on. He's had time. I think, looking at it, if he loses again, I don't see the hope. There's no. It's not like they're very confused in the team. The team doesn't have the same Leon, and maybe because it's Matosas and it's hard, but I don't see. Oh yeah, I can definitely see his hand in the game of it. So, yes, Boselli hasn't been there, but it's not like we've had that many chances. We're looking at they're just Sabah is there who still scored. So. It's not like we're looking at so many opportunities that are missed because they're still scoring. But
Gullit is playing at 50%. If Gullit was at least at 85, I think. Yeah. So I think PC. It's tough for PC because he's coming into the league in December, and I think it's tough for a new coach who doesn't know much about the league
in the middle
to come in December when it's really really complicated. All the teams, they're fighting relegation and blah blah blah. And I think he deserves at least a summer just to. If they want to continue the project, but I don't know. The Martinez might be thinking something else.
I think they're looking at the way that they are. We'll see if he wins. Keep going, but if he keeps losing,
go back to Valencia. Downgrade from Leon.
All right, guys. Anything else on Liga MX? Obviously, some Web and Todos is the hashtag for the sponsors it. But looking at next week. gonna be interesting.
I did some quick math. We'll see. Someone has to double check this math for me, but for the relegation race. But I checked because right now Medio Tiempo has this excellent little calculator.
Yes, we know, Cesar.
I love talking about that calculator. I love that calculator. I could spend hours on that thing. All right, so what I did earlier today, because I have no life. So I checked in to see like if Puebla won all their games, what Leones Negros, Chivas, and Veracruz would have to do in order to get past, in order to stay in the league. So if Puebla wins all their games, the last 5 games, Leones Negros would need 9 points to guarantee safety. Chivas would need 7 points to guarantee safety, although 2 points, which would just be 2 wins, would put it in a tiebreaker between them and Puebla. The tiebreaker would be goal differential. And Veracruz just needs 4 points in order to avoid relegation. That's assuming if Puebla wins all 5 of their games. So it's kind of crazy to think that even if Puebla wins all 5 of their games, they could still be relegated. And I just want to plug that in really quickly.
Nice, and I think also if Puebla loses next week against Leones Negros, which is probably the key, what everybody's been circling about the relegation race, I think they could still make it, right? Even if they lose.
Yeah, they can still make it. It'll just be pretty tough. But yeah, someone's gonna have to double check that math. But that's the hypothesis for now.
No, whoever loses next weekend will go bottom, won't they?
Well, there's still I think a light chance that they can still make it, but pretty much.
Yeah, that Puebla Leones Negros is gonna be big.
Yeah, but, I think once everybody's been looking at it, we'll see. Cuauhtemoc Blanco, looking at that game. I think it'll be an interesting game. Interesting games that are coming up next week. Mohamed, Atosas coming together. I think
actually, I haven't even checked the schedule yet.
We're looking to see. I think it's gonna be interesting, especially a lot of drama.
Monterrey will not have Cardona. So that could be an advantage for Atosas.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, it's always
he's definitely been one of their best players.
Always interesting towards the last 5. This is what obviously we're here, so interesting to see. But let's go ahead. What's going on in the chat? Lots of people naive. Lots of things that you have to answer. A lot of people questioning that America, that everything makes sense now with your America jersey that you have in the back. That was a question. Everything makes sense, but lots of talk about Chicharito and the MLS. Apparently, he's coming next year to Orlando, so I guess it's all ready to go.
Come on.
I love these little stories, and I love these little stories that come out, and like just everybody jumps on them. Orlando wants Chicharito. So does all the MLS. So does all of Mexico. I mean, it's like everybody would want that type of player, not because it's amazing, but
why Orlando? Why doesn't he come to San Jose Earthquakes? I'd like that. Let's see what he can do over here in the San Jose Earthquakes. play alongside Chris Wondolowski.
It's because you don't have a purple field, dude.
That's why he's not coming to San Jose.
Interesting.
Chris Wondolowski is my favorite U.S. men's national team player because he misses opportunities for the U.S. men's national team, but he does well for San Jose. So he's my favorite player.
But I mean, people in MLS and stuff, they really, when these come out, they really do have a debate, don't they?
They really want him, man.
They really want him. I think he will end up there. I think it makes perfect sense. Yeah. But he's going to be 27th, I think, on 1st of June. I don't know why I know that, but it's a bit weird, isn't it?
The stock of hour.
But do you know shoe size, Tom?
Do you have some of his hair from Los Angeles?
Anyway, so but there's no way I can see him coming at 27 years old.
No.
It's not. I think if they offer him $10 million, there is that temptation. There always will be, but I think he'll get close to that if he comes when he's 30 years old. And I think that he can have, I think he himself wants to prove himself in Europe as a starter week in, week out. And I don't think he's bothered anymore about what kind of club it is. I think he'll go for the best possible one that fits in with being guaranteed.
Watford.
All
right, guys. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about the games this week. Naheeb and I were talking about what's happening in April coming up. I mean, games every day, right, Naheeb? I mean, we're looking at so many different games. If you're a national team, CONCACAF, Libertadores, Copa MX, Europeos, you get something to do every single day. So it's good to be a Mexican national fan where we're everywhere, especially in competitions where not only in ours, but also in South America. It's good to see that. But CONCACAF Champions League, obviously very, very important this year. I think we were talking about it with Mr. John Arnold from Goal when we were all in LA on how this is probably one of the most watched, probably the most followed, especially because of the rivalry. Because Mexico doesn't have 2 teams in the final, or 3 or 4, when it comes to 6 teams left. But America, Herediano, very, very tough. Moises Munoz is not going to be there for the game on Wednesday. Naib, can America do it? Do you see it plausible?
I mean, if we kind of see what has happened in the last games in Liga, only 2 goals, as Cesar was noting in the beginning a while ago. No, it's tough. I think the Costa Rican teams are really good tactically. I think you can't disregard that. I think they totally lost the game in Costa Rica, the way they acted with the tackles and kind of lost sense of what they were doing in the pitch. But I mean, I think if they get the follow-up from the crowd, if they get into it, and if they get an early goal, maybe in the first 15 minutes, maybe that might ignite a comeback. I think it's important for players like Darwin Quintero to actually step up and have a good game. A game that is memorable for the Americanista, because Darwin hasn't had that. Benedetto could step up again, but it's really tough. I see it really tough at the moment. I mean, it's a good comfortable lead that Herediano has at the moment.
3. It's pretty big. At least 3 to tie, go into maybe extra time. So we need 4 goals. Cesar?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm just looking at actually the wiki page of the CONCACAF Champions League. I think I'm trying to figure out when was the last time that there wasn't a Mexican team in at least the final.
There hasn't. This will be the first.
Since they reorganized it in 2008, I believe that only 1 non-Mexican team has ever made the final.
That's what I saw. So 2010 to 2011, it was a Real Salt Lake. Yeah.
But I guess only a non-Mexican team in the final. I think I said it before, but that is absolute. Imagine if that in the European Champions League, it'd be like, it's absolute domination.
I think it'll do something for the league. I mean, competitive, and we'll see that. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal if we don't have a finalist. I don't. I mean, looking at what it is.
I think it is. I think it does stain the image of the league. What I'm not looking forward to if America don't go through the articles saying, the Mexican League, what's going on, what's happened, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Are we in crisis mode because we're not?
But the thing is, it's not a good reference point, but it is a reference point that people use.
Yeah, true. No, it is. It's in an argument. There's always like, look where we've been, but we're not going to be there for the next 100 years. Oh, Mexico has to have that. Yeah, it happened in the way that it happened, and good thing, because I mean, Costa Rica's got 2 teams, and we've seen that from Costa Rica last year. It's not like obviously we talk about towards the MLS or anything like that, but it's not like the teams that are on there, the top 4 teams. I don't think any of them are MLS teams except for Montreal, but I see a great job.
Good enough to Pachuca, so there you go.
Yeah, no, good. We're looking at things where like, oh, is it bad for the league? It was going to happen sometime, and who knows if it's going to happen, but I don't think it's a point of look at what Tigres is doing at the Libertadores, though. That's going to be fun. Let's say Tigres goes far. Okay, well that year, look, we had Tigres went far in Libertadores.
I bet they don't though.
I bet they don't. Yeah, they're qualified for the knockout stage. We'll see.
Yeah, no, they're doing brilliant now. Like it looks like they're gonna, sailing through and stuff. Like good result down in River in Argentina. But then they'll get to like the knockouts and Tuca will play like a reserve team.
Yeah.
Que no will finally be on the field.
He starts going at in his way. All right, well that's a good way to segment. Interesting to see. Obviously on Wednesday on what happens. I really hope that the crowd gets there, as we saw. Not like the Clásico Joven, obviously, that it was almost full. It was great to see the Azteca, but I think it'd be good for it to have maybe lowering the tickets or something, so we can have a great atmosphere at the Azteca.
Yeah. I think if America can get an early goal, I think more than anything they've got to keep it tight at the back. It sounds weird considering they need the three goals, but I don't think they need to go out there and completely attack from the first whistle. Even if it's 0-0 at half time, I'm still not writing them out. I think they need a goal before like the 70th minute, and then the crowd will kick in and everything could come together. But I mean it's slightly ridiculous that we're even considering that it's a semi-final of a continental competition, and three goals aren't enough. You know what I mean? We're still like, yeah, they could do it. They could do it. They could. I mean, I think
So there you go.
Really, but
there's still a chance. On the chat, somebody's mentioning the Maracanazo with America went in there. It could definitely happen. You see, can America score 3? They scored 3 on Saprissa, and Saprissa is a much better team than Herediano looking at the league. Herediano does have some players up top, which I remember I was in Costa Rica for the final, Costa Rica versus Heredia last season, and these guys were lethal up front. They're tall, they're very physical, so we'll be interested to see what happens in the defense. But good to see. Let's switch it over. I know we are running out of time, but quickly, very important, game at River. We were talking about if anybody was going to try to make it out there, but to Monterrey, how important is this? And where we're at with Libertadores, we kind of just mentioned it. Is Tuca going to take this seriously?
I mean, like Tom was saying, we'll see what happens when they play this Wednesday against River Plate, because I think as of now, I think that they've already have a qualified spot to the next round, because they already have. They're leading the group. I think they're leading the group by 5 points right now. They have 10 points, and I think the second place right now has 5 points. So they don't really need to come out, with the starting 11 against River Plate on Wednesday. Obviously, it'd be a big, opportunity to defeat River Plate in Mexico.
They could knock River Plate out as well.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point as well.
They could knock River Plate out.
I don't know. I don't know anything about River Plate. I mean, obviously follow it, but is this River Plate just the prestige that River Plate has? Knocking them out would be huge.
Yeah, it'd be huge, but I really don't think Tuca cares at all. About knocking River out. He's looking.
Those morenos.
He wouldn't surprise me if on Wednesday he plays a B team. I don't think he's said yet, but considering they've got an important league game coming up for the weekend, it would not surprise me one bit, considering that they are qualified, if he just plays a B team and right, River or no River, I don't really care. Oh, really? I mean, he doesn't care. I mean, he doesn't care about he doesn't seem to care about other people's perceptions.
If there's a coach in Mexico that doesn't care about other tournaments except for Mexico, it would be Tuca. He said it.
I do have to say that there's a big difference between the Apertura Tigres and the Clausura Tigres, and it has to do with Sobis. Rafael Sobis, I think, has been a great addition to the league and to the team. They play great football. Guerron is just scoring goals in bunches, and Dueñas is playing spectacular in the midfield. It's like really exciting what Dueñas is doing, and a top player as well. It's been really impressive to see Tigres play, really, really joyous football, not just pragmatic or wait and defend and then see and on the counter. Yeah. It's actually a lot of build up.
Speaking of Sobis, I think I wrote down he has 6 goals and assists in his last 5 games. That guy's on fire right now. Yeah, he's actually doing really, really well with Tigres.
Interesting stuff. What the schedule for the week? What are some of the other games, important games that we're looking out for? I mean, obviously Wednesday's a big game for Libertadores and Conca Champions. What else?
Let's Colo on
Okay,
Tuesday.
Colo.
Yeah, Lisco. Be going there.
You're going to that game, Tom?
Yeah, be going there. Yeah.
Should be fun, interesting.
And the massive, massive Copa MX semi-final between Puebla and Monterrey.
Chile goes to the final to meet Chivas.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Interesting Thursdays, and then Friday will already start. Man, game every...
Yeah, tomorrow, Tuesday, Real Sociedad visits Atletico Madrid, and Raúl might play in the second half. He's going to be on the bench probably, and Vela's still not sure if he'll be available for the game.
Perfect. Lots of things going on, especially with Europeos, and like we said, a game at least every day for a while now on the importance of being a Mexico fan and what you guys are doing. So interesting, great weekend to show guys. Lots of drama, and at the same time, lots of discussion around Twitter. If you guys are not following these guys, definitely do. Cesar, Naive, and Tom are always tweeting out what they're thinking, especially around news. Naive does an amazing Fab 5 every day, sometimes in Spanish. Is it Thursdays are in Spanish, Naive?
Thursdays in Spanish, yeah.
Yeah, great key back, because I'm always looking at, yeah, I thought about that. Ooh, didn't think about that. So great, a lot of fun. And thank you to you guys that are on the chat, always are in there. Definitely kudos to Mr. Steve Graff for coming on. Definitely write some great articles we're looking at. So that's it, guys. I know we went over an hour. Any other thing that we should mention? Being a Mexico fan for this for today.
Oh, unfortunately, Cesar Romero didn't score for Punic over the weekend. I know you guys are all devastated. Cesar Romero from San Diego, the Mexican American kid, but yeah, oh well, we'll see what happens next
How
weekend.
many goals does he have?
I think it's like 17 and like 18.
Oh, it's catching up now.
Oh yeah, that's the serious Armenian Premier League.
It's a normal numbers. All right, guys. Naive.
What we see naturalizado in the call-up for the U.S. men's.
Oh, that's right.
That's the key question. They think there will be one. I think
Maybe
I'd say there'll be at least one.
Pierre was mentioned a little bit about it. Whoever is, if it's there, needing that we need so many players. It'd be interesting to see who. Naive, you're saying Crozas?
If I gotta pick my favorite, I'd say Crozas. If I saw a list of players, I saw Zavala, Molina, and Rios. I think Crozas is above those players. Considering all the minutes that he's played. That's my personal opinion. But I could see Hurtado as well. One of those two, Hurtado or Crozas.
I think a striker would be a much better option right now because in midfield we're more than fine. In the midfield, I think we have plenty of options. So I would definitely like someone like Hurtado. And I know Jolie just said Benedetto, and I think on the chat right now, and I think Benedetto would be an excellent option as well.
Yeah, but the only thing is, I think they've got to be like living in the
Benedetto
country for 5 years though, and I don't think they've the 5-year residency rule. I don't think they've completed it yet, even though the Mexican citizens.
It's Mexico. I mean,
all right, I'll show them then.
we can just pay a couple bit of money, do a GoFundMe or something.
If no one says anything, maybe FIFA will never know.
Fun times. All right, guys. Well, it'll be interesting to see. The list should be coming out on Friday, maybe Thursday. It is usually comes out a little bit better earlier because of the Europeos, but the week before definitely. So we'll have a show on Monday. I'll be flying over to San Antonio. How about you guys? Will you be there?
Hopefully. I still have to see what my boss has to say.
Naive, so close for you, Naive?
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next days to decide.
Tom?
Yep, I'll be working it up there.
Definitely. So good to see. I know there's going to be a lot from Pancho Villa's Army having theirs. Good to say hi to Sergio and all the crew with Pancho Villa's Army. So interesting time. All right, guys. Well, we're kind of went a little bit over an hour, but it's all good and having fun talking with you guys. Nothing else from me. Some craziness with drama and some TMZ stories out there with Piojo, nothing to take care of with some extortion cases. So definitely take a look at that if that's something that you want to read. But other than that, no more news. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, those of you on the chat. And we'll see you guys next week around the same time, 7 p.m. Pacific. If we change the time, we'll definitely let you know. But we'll be having at least a couple of shows. Definitely because we have a game, Estados Unidos contra Mexico. Talk to you guys next week. Have a great week.
See you guys around.